Hey, this is Jonathan Bone here, and you're listening to Fox on the Wire.
You're listening to Fox on the Wire podcast.
All right, now, do I call you John or Jonathan?
John's easier.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, John. All
I
right,
call you
man.
Craig.
Yes. Yep, that's fine, man. Nice to meet you over the airwaves.
Yeah, we'll see you in the flesh soon enough.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to that. Haven't been on the gig trail much this year for certain reasons. So yeah, look forward to sharing the stage with you especially. So it's going to be awesome.
How's Melbourne now? That's where you are, right?
Yeah. Well, we're on the eve of a big day tomorrow with the state election, and usually I don't like to talk about politics, but as you know, it's come crashing into our lives quite a bit in the last couple of years. So it's a pretty important one tomorrow. So
what time will you know tomorrow? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping, early enough that I can get stuck into a bottle of rum, maybe as a celebration or a commiseration. So yeah, hopefully it's early enough for one or the other. But
Okay.
I'm not sure. There's been a lot of, early polling. A lot of people are going to vote early, and I intended to, but I just didn't get around to it. So I'm going to have to do it tomorrow. So keep your fingers crossed for a good result, whatever that might be.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know enough, but Tanya says there's the guy from the slug thing that's up against him, and he's got a very, very good chance. That's all I know.
Yeah, Ian Cook in Dan Andrews' seat of Mulgrave. So he's been doing really well, and it's an interesting angle to try and I guess knock someone out of a position like Premier. You take them out of their base seat, and today they sort of Dan didn't vote in his nominal electorate, which is pretty strange for a politician to do, apparently. So he's done it somewhere else. So it kind of shows that he might be running scared a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah. Sounds good.
We'll see.
I think I'll be celebrating myself too. I think it's been god awful watching him and his interviews over the last 2 years. It's just makes your skin crawl.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, like I said, I'm not overly a political person, but
no, I never was political at all, except for the last 2 years.
Totally. Yeah, well, sort of had no choice in a way. I mean, it just came into our house and came into our bodies, or at least tried to, and it's all political at the end of the day, if you ask me. I obviously living with someone like Dan Andrews, it's just been pretty dreadful, and I think maybe the rest of the country has seen that, and let's hope Victorians around the state don't forget and haven't got a bit of Stockholm syndrome, and they remember tomorrow what he's sort of done.
Well, you got some great people down there fighting, don't you? Like Topher and Rushkan and Harvey. And someone I was watching, someone called Joel Gilmore. I don't know if you know him.
Actually.
Joel Gilmore was he only had a small following, but he was right amongst it. When it was all going on, that terrible day at the shrine and stuff. So I watched him, and it was terrible. It was funny because 10 minutes before they were showing all the families there, the kids, and then the next minute there's like gunshot, and that's not something you guys are going to forget, is it? Hey.
No, especially at the shrine too. Like, it's just, I don't know, like a lot of it, of what we've been through, it still hasn't kind of settled with me, and I'm not sure I even know how to talk about it all. Maybe after tomorrow, if we get some good results, we'll be able to feel some sort of, I don't know, path forward, I guess. But, you know, like everyone, every state, some people take it better and they just, I don't know, take things as they come. But some of us, like yourself, knew something wasn't right through this whole thing, and pretty much.
It's a thing, isn't it? You either it seems like you either know or you don't. I know that sounds a bit silly, but it seems to be that way. It's just people are just like everyone's trying to find a reason why, you know, some people just won't have a bar of it, and other people, or most people, are just happy to go along with it. And we're sort of trying to work that out, aren't we? Why is that? Like, I'd love to know the answer. Well, I mean, there's a lot of factors, but hopefully it's not going to happen again. It's not going to, you know, things are going to change, and people will, you know, start to realize what the hell's going on, sort of thing. I'm just going to have a sip of my tea, if that's right.
Go for it. Yeah, I mean, you know, history, I'm not a big historian or anything like that, you know, far from it, but a lot of things have happened in history that could give us a hint as to where we are and where we're headed at the moment, and what it's all about, really, and that sort of thing. But I think, you know, I knew we were going to get onto stuff like this tonight. I'm like, I don't even know if I can get it out, you know, how I'm feeling and stuff. But anyway,
no, I'm just admiring all the stuff you've got in your room there, the guitar. Wow.
This is my sanctuary.
Is it actually a studio, or is it?
Yeah, it's I've sort of turned it into a little home studio, I guess. You know, and it sort of started with the podcast here. You know, I sort of learnt how to use, you know, audio programs and interfaces and stuff. I'm no expert by any means, but that sort of got me started. So it's a podcast, music room. So yeah, I guess it's a bit of a makeshift studio. You know, and I keep learning, so it's definitely where I like to spend as much time as I can, which is not as often as I would like, but that's okay.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, so, well, you know, there's lots to talk about with you and myself, and firstly, I just want to congratulate you on the release of your album today, I believe.
Thanks for that. It feels good to get an album out. I actually wrote it probably 18 months ago, 2 years ago, while it was all happening. But it took us a while to, you know, get round to setting everything up and, you know, actually releasing the album. But yeah, it's out now, and I'm glad to let it sort of into the air, wherever you let it into the world. It feels good. It feels good to have that.
Yeah, it must be quite the feeling of a release. I mean, and it's a double album, is that right?
I think it's a double CD.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a double or a triple album, but it's a double CD. Oh. It's got 36 tracks on it. So, I mean, you know, I recorded them I wrote and recorded them very quickly, and sort of did it here where I'm sitting on my little computer, my iMac here, and I'm very happy with it. I mean, I'm happy that I was able to, because it was just crazy. I was just writing. The stories that were coming out, you know, the terrible stories were just affecting me. So it was hitting me so hard. And as a songwriter, I just had to release, you know, I just had to, and they just came out. It was like, it all started with I think the news came out where you had to wear a mask. I think it was early 21. and they said, you know, everyone's got to wear a mask. And I was like, you know, otherwise you're going to get arrested or whatever. I wrote the first lyric, which was "Looks like I'm going to jail," which it was actually on the holidays. So, and I wrote that's how it started. I wrote this lyric, "Looks like I'm going to jail for the holidays," and yeah, that's how it felt. I didn't, you know, I wasn't gonna comply. So it started there, and it didn't stop, and there was like 20, 30, 40, 50 songs. And they didn't. I recorded about 52, but they didn't. I mean, it's too many anyway. But
52, my goodness, wow!
It was too many, but it was just the stories, man. It was just all.
Yeah.
I mean, this, you know, all the information I had to get, all the research I had to do to make sure everything was cool. You know, everything I was thinking was right. You know, and all the, you know, there's a lot of good independent journalists that, you know, give me a lot of information.
Yeah.
David Limbrick was doing some good stuff down there, wasn't he?
Yes. Yep.
He actually inspired me. There's one of my songs. It's called Freedom Scissors, and it was after watching him. I don't know if you remember him cutting some. They'd locked off all the children's parks. They blocked them all off and stopped them playing.
Yeah.
And he came around and just cut all the barriers down, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, he was one of the very few sort of, because there wasn't a lot of hope. I can't speak for every state, but I kind of feel like we were, you know, probably a little bit worse off than others. It just seemed that way. You know, we were sort of the leading escalator of draconian measures such as the playground, and David Limbrick was definitely one of the, like, I never knew of him before this, and all of a sudden he popped up, and I'm like, oh my God, because you just felt so alone, like whether it's in the music industry, in your family, amongst your friends, in the parliament, for sure. And it's just like, am I crazy? Or and then, you know, slowly but surely, you know, certain voices popped up, and you feel a bit less crazy. But well, I'll have to listen to that particular tune. But yeah, obviously that whole period gave you a lot to say if you wrote 50 odd songs.
I just couldn't. Like, there was another song where I was just in disbelief. There was I can't remember his name, but it was the police commissioner of New South Wales, and he was talking about, you know, that you needed a reasonable excuse for being in a certain place, and you know, if you're going shopping to buy a pair of shoes, you know, you're going to get arrested and all this stuff. And I just took to that, you know, and I wrote a song for that, you know, talking about buying shoes and getting arrested. But, you know, you're not allowed to do that, but you can go next door, where I live anyway, next door to where you buy your shoes is like a bottle shop. You can go there and buy as much beer as you want every day. Yeah. But this guy was going to arrest you, and there was just all these crazy rules coming out. And I definitely jumped on all these crazy rules. You know, I was like, this is all crazy. I'm just gonna, you know, it's sort of making me write. It's serious, but you can sort of find some humor in them, because it's just, you have to, you know, to sort of, it's just so crazy. You have to laugh at it, but even though it's a serious thing, you know.
Yeah, it's sort of happening live time and day to day or week to week. It's just sort of escalating to new heights, and you're just like, it's kind of funny, but it's crazy, but it's actually reality. It's not. It's not a dream, or it's not in the past tense, or it's not what could potentially happen. It's actually happening, and it's like,
Well, what the main issue is. That's why everyone's complaining, because they can't. It's so crazy, they can't take it in. So they just go, whoa, you know. and they just go along with it because they can't, comprehend it, sort of thing. They just, oh no, I don't want anything to do with that. I'm just gonna do this. I'll do what they say and get on with my life. But it's not the best thing to do. And I was writing. I just got my album here.
Oh, nice. Yep.
And I was writing a because we had a premiere. Her name was Gladys Berejiklian, I think it was.
Yeah.
Our premiere.
Or Gladys Barbecue Chicken, if
Barbecue
you watch
Chicken.
Sushi Mango.
Yeah. And she was coming on. I didn't watch it much, but she was coming on every morning and saying everything's, people were dropping right, left, and center, all this crazy stuff. And I just had to write about that. And she had these sort of coats on. She used to wear these, fancy coats. So I basically wrote a song. It's the 9th track on the first CD, and it's called "The Woman in the Coat." Well, that's to do with her and all the nonsense she was saying every single morning.
Yeah.
And so it's just things like that. I just went on.
Yeah.
And I've got another song that's like the Ballad of Phyllis Frost Prison. I had to write. I felt compelled to write about Monica Smith, who went to jail.
Yep.
I wrote about that, and it just kept on going.
Yeah, she was another one that sort of popped up during this whole thing that
okay.
Gave you some sort of hope. I didn't know about her prior to all this. I don't even know if she was sort of in the public sphere before all this, but yeah, she popped up. She was another one. So
yeah. And it just kept on going. I got inspired by Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wrote a song about him. He sort of educated me about all the pharmaceutical companies and all the crooks.
Yeah. And
that inspired me to write a song called "The Story of the Land," and it's just telling how crooked the pharmaceutical industry is.
Particularly in America, and he's forever suing these pharmaceutical companies. What's his foundation? Is it Child's Defense Health Fund or something like that?
Yeah,
something
that's
like
it.
that. Yeah. No, he's very good to listen to. Like, he's obviously knowledgeable and
oh, he's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, well...
I don't want to take you through 36 songs, but they're all related to things like that, I just get affected. Like, I went to protests and Michael Sims was talking.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was talking about his vaccine-injured child.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of deeply affected me, and I went home and wrote a song called "Hell, It's Their Mistake."
Mm.
But basically, because when we, there's a lot of parents, they're not, at some time they don't know about these vaccines, and we make these mistakes, and we find out later on, and we feel terrible about it, or but it's not. I'm trying to say it's their mistake, but we've been. We've been fooled, by just like the COVID-19 vaccine.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, the fact that I think, straight off the bat, the fact that, no scientist obviously, but the fact that it's been labelled a vaccine is the trick, I think, and clearly it hasn't behaved or turned out as a regular vaccine that we used to as kids growing up. And
yeah, well, it's all coming up now, isn't it?
Still, yeah, but it's like, is it making enough of a difference? It's like all the information's there, and it was always there, but it's slowly seeping into the mainstream. But it's still being pushed by certain characters, and I'm just like, where is this gonna end? Where is this going to turn around?
That's something I worried about right from the start. Yeah, how is this? Because it's not a. I mean, the COVID-19 vaccine is a new thing, but people I have been injured by vaccines for a long, long time, and nobody's ever listened. Like even my wife, she was in 2000. This is where I started to catch on to the lies and everything, because my wife was enrolled to for a midwifery course in UTS in Sydney, and she had to take, I think, something like 6 shots of vaccines to be able to study. So she was a bit sort of hesitant. She didn't really want to do it, but she really wanted to be a midwife and to study midwifery. Half of her body was just messed up. It's like apparently it's like a massive sunburn feeling, but it's really bad, and it's constant, and it's all over your body. It's the one Eric Clapton. I don't know if you heard of Eric Clapton, where he came out last year. It's the one he actually got it after taking AstraZeneca. Yeah, it's the same one as that. It's the same medical condition.
Because he said he couldn't play guitar for a few weeks or months, was it?
I think it was months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where it started for me.
Yeah.
Is this what we're talking about today?
Well, if this is what the songs are about, and
Well, that's it. That's every song. This is the thing. Every song is a protest song. Even though I was doing a gig last night in Tamworth, and I was talking about it in between songs. I talk about Michael Sims who lost his job, he lost his house, and he lost access to his child just because he didn't want to take a vaccination.
Yeah.
And this is what it's like to I had to get used to speaking like this in between songs when I'm doing gigs. So it was a good practice last night. It was the first gig of the tour. See how I go with the rest of it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the tour, you're in celebration of the release of the album. You're bringing your journey as an outsider through the upheaval of the lockdowns and the mandates and the censorship on a bit of a East Coast tour, which includes our show on December 9th. So how many shows in are you, and where are you headed next?
Well, I did the first gig. I got a list here somewhere. Oh, here we are. I did the first gig last night in Tamworth. And that was at the Press Basement Bar. I don't know if you've been there.
No.
Yeah. It was a good gig, but I was sort of buzzing after it, 10 o'clock. I decided to drive home from Tamworth to Sydney, which is about a 5-6 hour trip.
All right, yeah.
So I'm feeling a bit sort of, zoned out today.
Yeah.
I was driving through the night. I didn't get home till 5 a.m. because I had a couple of stops. Stopped at McDonald's. I got chocolate soft serve.
Regretting that now, no doubt. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah. It sort of kept me going to drive through the night, get me back to Katoomba, where I live.
Yep.
But I got to get up early in the morning and drive to Byron Bay.
Okay.
That's the next one, and that's Sunday night at the Rails. I don't know these places, so I haven't played there before. And then back to Katoomba. Got a couple of gigs. So do you know Ali Rowe?
No.
They're from Melbourne.
No.
And they're going to be playing, supporting me at Katoomba in Sydney.
Okay.
On the 3rd and 4th. And then I'm going to Wagga Melbourne, obviously on Friday the 9th, where you should be there.
Yep.
And Brisbane and Coffs. I'm finishing in Coffs Harbour on this 18th of December.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot of traveling, but I'm up for it.
Yeah. Well, we live in a beautiful country, and last couple of years we haven't been allowed to cross those borders, so cross them while you can.
Yeah, exactly.
And check out all those dates at jonathanbone.com.
Yeah.
And get down and support local music, because we missed out on that for a couple of years.
Yeah. How was the Burgie? Is that do you know the Burgie?
Yeah, I haven't played there yet, so
okay.
That's why I'm looking forward to it. But I think it's a good joint, right in the heart of sort of Brunswick. So, and being a Friday night, we should have a few folks down there, which will be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that near St Kilda, or is that somewhere else?
Not really, but it's not. It's not across town or anything. It's depending what time you drive there, maybe half-hour drive. So it's not that far, but it's not next door. Yeah. So
is it a big place or a small place? Oh, you haven't been there?
I haven't been there, but I think it's relatively intimate, I think, from what I gather. So it should be good. It'll be a good one. So, and yeah, being a Friday night too, so it should be pumping. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to Melbourne for a while, so I'm looking forward to coming down there.
Yeah.
Hopefully the guy tomorrow won't be there then. He'll be gone. It'll be nice.
Yes. Fingers crossed, and toes and everything else. So the first single from the album was How It'll Be Alright, which is also the title track of the album. You dropped that back on the 11th of November, which is available on Spotify, Apple Music, and Bandcamp, and all digital platforms. So when I listened to that one, I guess initially I got sort of Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison sort of vibes.
Yeah,
and it
I've
was
heard Roy Orbison before. I've heard Roy Orbison before, so you must be on the.
Yeah, it's like that.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Well, it's, I don't know. It was like I don't know. You think of these things, and you're like, well, how do I explain it? And it's like, well, I don't really know, but I guess it's like an old school sort of vibe, which is absolutely a compliment.
Yeah, I do like the old school.
Yeah,
but it does have that that chord on the guitar. I don't know if you know it, the B7.
Oh yeah,
down the bottom. It's one of the first chords I ever learned. So I think that as soon as you play that chord, it's just sort of, it sounds 50s, 60s or something.
Yeah. It's got like a Tennessee sort of feel or something. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, that's sort of the vibe I got, and I chucked it on in the car on the way home from work that night, and I'd had a pretty shit day, so I'd sort of left a bit angry and pent up, and I chucked that on. It sort of brought me down a bit, which was kind of weird. I'm like, oh, I didn't. Usually I'll listen to sort of heavy music, but
okay.
Yeah, it sort of brought me down a bit, which was kind of cool. So it's made me really like that song. So thank you for that.
Down in a good way or a bad way?
No, in a good way. Sorry. Yeah. It sort of calmed me down, I should have said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So nice, easy sort of vibe, which was cool. And then you released what was the next track? Heaven's Door on the 18th of November. So another good track.
Yeah. Again, they came from the same thing. Heaven's Door was, I heard there's something on Facebook. There was people commenting on Facebook, and they were talking. It was in America, and there was talk of the authorities coming door to door, and seeing if people are complying to the rules of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So and there was just thousands of comments, and they're all saying if they come, well, not all, a lot of them were saying, if they come to my door, one guy said there'll be shotguns and dogs before they, it was that sort of mentality going on, which is, I understand how they feel, but in the song you'll see, like, I understand how they feel, but obviously we don't want to be violent. Nobody wants violence. So
yep, exactly.
Because people are just going to get shot and killed. So it don't make sense. And that's and you end up, dead. So that's heaven's door for you. That's how I get inspired by people saying on Facebook, they're not going to be, telling me what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, basically, most of us, I thought, basically wanted governments to the side of our lives or out of our lives as much as possible. That's what I always was under the impression of. But all of a sudden they came crashing in, and some people seemed to like it and some of us didn't. And you were pretty much on either one side or the other. And instinctively I knew which side I was on, and I couldn't really help it. And that was that. And
what about your mates and your family? Was that a problem? Because it usually is with everybody. Everyone's got their, problems. Everyone. They've divided a lot of us, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have. I figured at some point down the track that it would even out, and people wouldn't think I'm actually crazy, because I'm not really. Once more things started to trickle out, but I don't know if we've met that point yet or not. We should have.
It's getting there. It's very slow, very slow.
Yeah, I think there's enough out there to absolutely be at that point, but for some reason, I don't think we're there yet.
Were you at Canberra? Did you go to Canberra?
No.
Whoa! If you went to that one, you would have. I'm sure it would. It made me feel so good. I was so lifted that day. Yeah. I've never seen so many people like me. It's like, and it was. And I usually just walk, in the march, what have you, in the crowd. But I made a point of just standing there and watching everyone go by. And there were, like, it was definitely a million. I'm being conservative, but it was definitely a million. But there could have been, a lot more. It was a beautiful couple of days, and they had all these camps set up, all these free camps. It was just people everywhere, millions. And I went home that day thinking, this is going to be all right. We're going to get there.
I mean, that says something, doesn't it? That's not just me and you. That's me and you times a million or hundreds of thousands. So that's a lot of people.
Oh, there was people from all over Australia and all the, Brisbane, all the way up to the, all the way down. I met so many people from all over Australia. It was just beautiful. We just come together. We just took over that day, and it was a great day.
Do you think they listened, the politicians?
No, they never do. I don't think it's about trying to convince them. They don't really care. They don't give a crap. It's about convincing the public. It's about the public changing and waking up. But the thing is, like you asked me about my first single, "How Will Be All Right." It's sort of that song, like, it came about because people, were ignoring what was going on. They'd say, "Oh, it'll be all right. Don't worry. We'll just go through this, for whatever, couple of months, and it'll be all right." And I'm like, how these people say how we'll be all right. It's not going to be all right unless we make it all right.
And I guess the way you sing that is so soft and calming, but it was such a serious situation.
Yeah, I don't usually sing that low. I'm singing. I'm singing a much lower register than what I usually sing.
Yeah.
I do take it up an octave at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very laid back, isn't it? That song, yeah.
Yeah, it is. During that whole thing, like I was saying, that was the whole point of it, wasn't it? To isolate everybody and, take people away from each other, blah, blah, blah. And you did feel like you were alone or like you're the only one thinking this way or whatever. And then another thing that came along was Free the Nation music from Ben Mitchell.
Yeah. That was a good day. That was a great day.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I heard that.
Because for me, particularly in the music industry, that was, what can I say? And then that came along and it's like, oh, thank F for that. There are other musicians that know this isn't right.
Yeah. And there's obviously a lot more as well, but they didn't sign up, I suppose, but they, because they're afraid. That's the thing. Everyone's afraid. You have to be. I've got another song in here called Brave, because I had to think, there's no way, I'm not going to be brave. I couldn't live with myself if I had to, just chuck it all in and just say, yeah, do what you want. I just repeat the same thing. Anyway, yeah, it's just that's the hard bit for some people is to give up, to give up what they've got in order to conquer this thing. It's very difficult. It's because they've got families, they've got mortgages or whatever. There's so much going on. You can't. It's hard to compete with it. It's very difficult. They played it. They played it pretty good, didn't they? Whoever did this.
They did, and I think it's it was in the works for a while. All the clips are there, them talking about it, not us talking about it. They were talking about it. It's in books and everything, and it's all there if you care to seek it out. And
you could see it coming. You could see it coming, eh?
Yeah, and
because we were protesting back in my wife got the vaccine injury in 2008, and then we were protesting on 2015 the no jab, no play, no pay thing. Now all that was going on, and it's like this is getting crazier and crazier. And then and then COVID hit.
Yeah. Hit pretty hard. I think a lot of people, in their defense, didn't know what hit us, but at some point, you had to surely start questioning things, which unfortunately a lot of people didn't. So,
I wrote a song. There's a song on an album called "The Giant Lie," which is obviously this giant lie thing. I mean, it's so big. A lot of people just think, there's no way it could be that bad. It is that bad.
It is, and there's lies everywhere. You just got to watch the mainstream media every day, whether it's here in Australia or in America. It's
crazy, isn't it? It's definitely changed the way I think in the last 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like I knew, obviously they lied, but I don't know. I didn't know that it could get this. I suppose I was a bit naive. I didn't know it could get this bad, and people would just take it,
Yeah. Yeah, I think most of us were that naive. And I guess we always thought there was a fail-safe amongst us as a community that we would only take so much, but we kept taking more. Like the whole thing was a big test, really. How much can they take? What will they accept? And
it seems like they accept anything.
Yeah. We kind of failed, really, but there was a lot of beautiful things that came out of it, and beautiful people, and I'm not sure where this is all going to end up, but
well, it's still going on. There's still people, there's still companies with mandates and things, and people got their jobs back and can't get jobs, and losing their homes and much worse than all this. It's just still going on.
Yeah, injuries and stuff, and
there's something new every day with injuries, and just yesterday, what was it today? A 22-year-old woman soccer player just dropped dead in England. What's going on there? On the pilot, there was a pilot last week in American Airlines. He took off and just dropped as he was taking off. He just did you hear about that?
No, not that one. No,
that was just last week. I mean, this is just the stuff I'm hearing. It's just God knows how much more is going on.
Yeah, and we could dive a lot further into this, but maybe this isn't the podcast for that. We're here to celebrate your album, but this goes pretty deep, and it's I don't know. Yes, the album.
Can you actually see anything?
A little bit. It's a bit hard to see, but it's a dark photo. So that means if you wrote, did you record all those 50-odd tracks?
Yeah, I did right here on my iMac.
So you've actually got some B-sides.
Yeah, it's going to be like it says part 1, part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a part 3. It's going to come out.
Oh yeah, cool.
One day, I don't know when, but it will come out. Because there's a lot of tracks I like on it, so I want to release it. So
is it hard to, because you've got so many songs there, and no doubt you've got previous releases? Is it hard for you to get together a set list that you're?
Yeah,
that'd be probably the hardest part.
Yeah, it is, but luckily I actually don't do that.
Are you one of those, are you?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I suppose I could do it, but it takes a lot out of me, I don't know. I mean...
Well, you kind of brought that on yourself, no offense.
Yeah. It's quite a task, and if it's 36 tracks, but I'm sort of doing... I don't think I've only got... I think I've got about 12 rehearsed up, something like that. Oh no, sorry. Oh yeah, it's really complicated because I wasn't meant to do this album. I was actually making another album.
Oh.
So, but then COVID hit, and then I had to do this album, because it was it had to be done because it made more sense. Yep. So I haven't actually. I can't play them all at the moment because I've been rehearsing other songs, which was the album I was supposed to be doing, and some off you. So anyway, it's I've got 36. I'm going to do 3 sets tomorrow on Sunday night.
Yep.
At Byron. So
cool.
So I'll be playing most of the songs.
Yep.
From the album.
Do you reckon when you mapped out the album, the track listing, was that hard to do? Did you put any thought into that, or did you just whack them all together? And
no way, we didn't whack them all together.
Yeah.
The thing is, they're sort of in order. A lot of them, the majority of it is in order of like writing. It's it's like sequenced. I think as time went on over the process of the writing. So apart from one or two, maybe.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't do that either. My wife, stroke manager, did it. So she's good at that. She's good at. She's better than me, I think. It's not that I can't do it. It's just it's a lot to focus on, and I was busy doing writing and recording. You know what I mean? So I could have I could have done it, but to write and record 36 songs, you know yourself, it takes a lot of work.
Oh, absolutely.
So I was busy doing that instead.
Fair enough. So the set lists for the live performances, will they sort of mirror the way they were listed on the album, do you think?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, because I'm not doing them all, so yeah, well, I'm sort of making it up as I go along, really. I mean, I didn't write out the set list. We didn't write out the set list until an hour before we went on stage. So is that are you sort of prepared for things like that? 10 minutes?
Yeah, I guess so. But I kind of admire someone like yourself who can sort of wing it like that. I think if I was gigging more regularly, and I think I would be a bit more spontaneous like that. Yeah. Like maybe if you're touring or something like that, you get to the venue, get a feel for it, and just kind of wing it. But the
thing is, it all changes, because if I'm doing 3 sets, I'm going to have three set lists. If I'm doing 1 set, I'm going to have to. So it changes sort of every time. Depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I do 2 sets, so I've got to leave like some songs out. Yeah.
So if you're doing 2 or 3 sets, would you chuck any covers in there, or is it just all original material, or would it depend on the gig?
It does depend on the gig. Yeah, I didn't do any covers last night.
Yeah,
but I will on Sunday, because I'm doing 3 sets. But I've never really done covers. But I've for the first time I've started doing covers, and I've got 4 now. I've got 4 covers, and I'm doing Johnny Cash.
Makes sense. Yep.
Folsom Prison Blues.
Oh yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah.
And I'm doing a Neil Young song, Harvest Moon, which I really like playing, because
that's a beautiful song, that one.
Yeah.
Is that hard to sort of play as a solo? Well, not hard, but like, because you got to have that sort of. It's got that really light brushes sort of snare drum in the song. So with the, because it's got the swing almost sort of feel. Is that kind of hard to replicate on your own with an acoustic?
It actually sounds good on my own, because it's a drop D.
Oh yeah.
And I've never used drop D.
Yeah.
But I'm using it now because I'm doing this Neil Young song, and it sounds beautiful because of this drop D.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It's a beautiful thing. Drop D.
You got the low D. You probably use drop D, do you?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So you got this low registered D, and the actual riff is high up. So you got this lows and highs working beautiful on the acoustic guitar. Really sounds good.
I didn't realize that song was in drop D, but I guess it kind of makes sense now. Yeah. No, I've been using drop D because I grew up on Silverchair and Nirvana, so there's a lot of drop D going on there, and I sort of carried that through.
Yeah. But he's not does Kurt Cobain tune down 1 fret as well in a lot of his songs? It's just tuned down.
He's a bit all over the place, actually. Like on Nevermind, there's some songs where the whole guitar is tuned down a whole step.
Yeah.
So, like Come As You Are and Lithium.
Yeah.
Smells Like Teen Spirit, standard tuning.
Yeah.
Something in the Way is like it's drop D, but I think it's slightly out of that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit all over the place. And then
I wonder why he did it. Does he like? I don't think he does it to because the song is too high. Because he can sing anything. He was amazing. I think he does it just to get that tone right.
Not sure. I don't know if they've
Why
ever.
would you tune your guitar down one fret? It must be to get that tone.
Well, yeah. I mean, I sort of play in E flat. Acoustically. Most of my guitars, if they're not in like an open tuning, I don't play in standard tuning. I play in like an E flat, and that's I don't know. I just find the tone a bit better. Plus, it helps with my singing a little bit.
Okay, so it's more of a tone thing, is it?
Yeah, I think so. For me, anyway. Yeah, especially acoustically. I don't. Standard tuning sounds a bit brighter, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but
it doesn't suit your songs, maybe, is it?
I don't think so. But then, I'm using capo sometimes, so depends on the song. But yeah, I generally stick with E flat, and I think Kurt did that on In Utero for the most part.
Yeah,
including dropping that down to a D flat as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But he's amazing guitarist.
Well, he's very, he's not like a Jimi Hendrix or anything, but it's an original, he's his own guitarist and a brilliant songwriter, obviously. So he couldn't really replicate what he was doing.
Yeah.
Because it was all from here, mostly.
Yeah. What do you think about Dave Grohl now? He hasn't been letting his fans into his gigs.
Yeah.
You heard about that, didn't you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for me to shove Dave to the side entirely because, he was one of my favourite guys, being in Nirvana and the Foo Fighters.
Yeah. But that was disappointing, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And he's supposed to be the punk rock guy and, just there was so many things during this whole thing that just crossed over and got, and it's like, it just made you question and look at everything and
because even like I chose to do a Neil Young cover and I'm like
Neil Young as well.
Should I be doing a Neil Young cover because he's but there's the song there's a written song that was written years ago and there's Neil Young's views today which I don't agree with. They're two different things, right? So
I guess so, but it's hard, man, like with actors as well, and just your family and stuff. But I guess that's that's the whole thing. Like they've put a wedge in between a lot of us, and it's up to us to ignore or break that wedge or whatever. But yeah, Dave, I don't know, especially when we lost Taylor.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, what? And I don't know. It's just I don't want to.
Yeah, I know.
It's just they were on the UB40 as well. Were like they kicked out one of their members in England. I know a guy here, the church.
Yeah.
They kicked out the drummer because he didn't vaccinate.
This is cool. Yeah, there was the Offspring drummer as well.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, even though he had a pretty good reason, like a medical reason not to get it. And, I guess, for me that all sort of hit pretty close because, we're musicians and...
yeah. Did you have a band at the time? No.
No.
Oh, okay, so you were
sort of in another band, but we've sort of been on hiatus for the last few years. We're just sort of getting back into it now. So yeah, no, mainly solo for me, which was lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird time. We're still in it, to be honest. So
yeah.
When did you start playing music?
Oh, as a little child, yeah, I just my mother had a lot of records, 45s and 78s.
Yeah.
And my first memory was she had all these like stacks of records, but there was like a massive stack. But I picked out four that I couldn't stop playing. It was like the Beatles, Elvis, the Crickets, and the Everly Brothers. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm not big on their whole catalogue. I'm not familiar with the whole catalogue, but what was this? What was the main song?
Bye Bye Love, this one was.
Unchained Melody.
Ah, yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Was that their song? Did they write that?
I don't think that's them. I think that's the Righteous Brothers.
Oh, shit. Right, okay. Yeah, I think you're right. Sorry.
They got a famous song called Bye Bye Love. Okay. And that's my first experience. You know when it really hits you, music, the first time?
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, what has just happened,
Yeah.
And your life has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was about 7 then, and then the Sex Pistols come along as well, didn't they?
Mm.
I had a lot of 45s, and then who else was there? Yeah, and then I got into the Jam. There's an English band called the Jam.
Yeah,
that's how I learned guitar, because I basically just learned all the Jam songs. Yeah. I had a year to sort of listen to a song and learn it. I was never schooled or anything. I couldn't do that. So, and yeah, and just and then I had a good friend that had lots of records: the Beatles, Small Faces, the Who, the Kinks. That's what I grew up on. Led Zeppelin. Big Star. Big Star is a big one for me.
Big Star.
Yeah. They wasn't very well known, but they wasn't well known at the time, but they were like this cult band. 20 years later, people got to hear about them. 20 years later or something.
How weird's that?
Yeah. They just couldn't hit the...
Yeah.
I suppose they were more of an indie band, I suppose, in the early 70s. But they're great.
And did you grow up in Australia, or?
No, I came here in 98.
Right.
Yeah. So, I came here and it was like, what's going on with the music over here? It's very different to England. And it was Silverchair when I came here.
There you go, yeah.
That song, I've forgotten it.
Freak or Tomorrow or Abuse Me or...
No,
or was it 98?
Yeah. I forgot.
Well, Neon Ballroom was released in 99 with Emotion Sickness and Anna's Song, Anthem for the U 2000.
Yeah. No, it was one of their first tracks. Not the first. It must have been 97, 98. Yeah, it was 98. Freak. It was Freak.
Freak, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was Drop D.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know anything then. I didn't know any of the bands. I was still listening to British music.
Yep.
But I like there's someone called Julia Jacklin I think she lives in Melbourne. She's like a indie folk singer.
Okay.
You haven't seen her?
No.
She was good.
But the 90s were a good time in British music, especially mid 90s, I guess.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I was living in London, and it was funny because I'm actually from Wales, and I'm from Wales, not England. And there was a lot of Welsh bands there, but you're not going to have heard of them, I don't think. Catatonia was one of them. Super Furry Animals was another.
Mm-hmm.
And I was into this sort of Welsh Brit pop music, I suppose you'd call it.
Mm.
But yeah, they do. The super furry animals come to Australia a few times, I think. But I did like the Creation stuff, Primal Scream.
Oh yeah.
The Creation label?
No.
Oasis were on there.
Oh, okay.
They were
with the earlier stuff, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I suppose I like that. They call it shoegaze music.
Yeah.
And it's sort of very spatial and affected, reverberated sort of music, It's with a sort of English beat, dun, 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 like a dance beat, sort of thing. Yeah.
You might like this other band that I'm in. We're called Old Etiquettes. James, our singer in particular, he's sort of into that sort of stuff, and I don't know, you might hear some of that in the music a little bit. I take a bit of a different role in that band. I just sort of lay back and play some guitar. I don't get involved in the song structures or anything like that. I just play guitar, and I'm sort of working on a few recording a few guitar tracks on some new tracks at the moment. So yeah.
So are you a technical player, Craig? Are you with your fingers or something?
Nah, like no, I'm not technical.
Okay.
I'll come up with some stuff, but I'm definitely not like I'm into metal and stuff like that, but I'm not. I can learn stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't. I'm not technical.
Yeah.
No.
So if you're writing a solo, you'd be more sort of I don't know, like pentatonic, is it? They call it.
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm also aware that's
maybe
pretty
a bluesy tone or something, or not. No.
It depends on the song, but I'm also aware that can be pretty stale as well. I'm into players that step outside of the box a bit, like Dimebag Darrell of Pantera. Even though that's heavy metal, he was always about chucking in different notes and sort of odd notes here and there, or the way he bent the notes, and so I guess I've got that in the back of my mind. Even if it's a folky tune and I'm playing a solo, I'm trying not to get too far away from the song, but not keeping it too stale. So whether I've achieved that or not is another thing. But yeah, but no, I'm not technical.
When you do your thing, Acoustic Foxx, is it acoustic guitar with effects, or just a plain acoustic?
Just a plain acoustic. If I'm recording, lately I've added some sort of overtone electric guitar stuff. But if I'm playing live, it's just me and the acoustic, raw. So, yeah, back to basics.
And you sing, is it like goes from low to high, or is it stay in a register, or is it a screaming thing? Or is it?
No.
I wouldn't be if it was acoustic, would it? No.
No, I mean, someone like Chris Cornell, I was always a big fan of. He could do his Soundgarden and stuff, and then he could pick up an acoustic and kind of sing like that a little bit. Some of the best gigs that I've been to was his solo acoustic shows, because, he had his lower register, and then he'd just sort of wail, and it'd fill up the whole theatre, and it was just amazing. And he'd still be sitting there with that acoustic guitar. So, it was all stripped way back to his acoustic and his vocal, but it was just, it was amazing. So, but he obviously had a freakish sort of range of his vocal and a real power to it, and not everyone has that. But
some people can get, some singers can really shift it up, another half an octave or something. where most sort of male singers anyway, they get up to like, I don't know, maybe E, like an E on the guitar string.
Mm-hmm.
That would be starting to get a bit high there.
Yeah.
Whereas the great singers, they tend to like able to sing low and really and keep it chesty, even though they're getting up to the, I think it's a B or something above the E, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
It
I
is.
wish I could sing like that sometimes, because if you write a song where you want to be able to do that, I mean, I like my voice, but it's going, it's good at what it does, and sometimes you might write something that you need something different, something else.
But then as a listener, not everyone wants to hear someone sort of wail or go too far off the reservation. They like to keep it pretty level. So, but I'd like to have that sort of that range.
Unless it's like Led Zeppelin, Whole Lot of Love, sort of wailing. That is perfect, isn't it? That is just like spot on.
Yeah, but then the other thing is, can you keep it up as you get older, or especially if you have to keep performing those songs, and all of a sudden, you can't do that like you used to. That'd be frustrating. But then some singers have transitioned into their older parts of their career really well, and some not so much. So it depends how you do it as well.
Yeah, it's a thing, It's like you see a lot of writers or bands, and they were great at a period of time whether it was the 60s or the 90s, and they were the best, as far as you or I am concerned. You might think, and they might go for like 3 years and then it stops. Yeah. And I always wonder why that is, like why it doesn't keep going. Not for me anyway. I mean, they might believe that they write in better all the time through the years, Like even myself, I think I'm a better singer now than I was when I was young, I feel like I'm better a singer.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But, it's just a lot of bands or artists that I've liked. They're usually just periods of time, like they were great from 1969 to 72. You couldn't touch them, and you can't today. They're just amazing.
Yeah.
They carried on going, but they never did anything. Like maybe the Stones, the Rolling Stones. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge fan of when in their heyday.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is that a bit sort of mean for me to say that? I don't know.
No, I mean, I think it'd be great to go and see the Stones still.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be like they were back then. They had a really good period, I think, sort of late 60s to mid 70s. That was a really good... Oh, yeah. And that wasn't just about them. That was just in the period of time in general. Like, it was just a good period, and I think they fit right into that perfectly, and it would have been a great time. I still liked a lot of their songs going into the 80s. I wouldn't pay for a ticket to go and see them now, even though I'd probably like to go and see them just because it's the Stones. Yeah. For me, I guess, like Guns N' Roses, they're in Australia at the moment. Slash and Duff are back in the band with Axl. I saw them back in 2016 when they just... Can
they still do it?
Well, they were really good in 2016 at the MCG. It's just a wash of noise, but it was great being there. But there hasn't really been any new material since then, and I've watched a few YouTube things with Axl, and he just sounds horrible. He was an absolute gun back in the day in that period of time, like you just sort of said, you know, what, 87 or 86 to 92, 93.
Yeah.
You know, that was a hell of a voice. And now he hasn't got that grit behind it, and it's just not the same. You know, I love Slash, I love Duff, but and they're one of my favourite bands, but I just wouldn't go again. So,
Yeah. I'm thinking of John Prine now. Have you heard of John Prine?
No.
He's like a country singer from way back. Roger Waters from Pink Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
He used to talk about him a lot. He said he's a great songwriter.
Mm.
And I think he sort of kept it together. You know, he was good. I think he died last year, but he seemed to be really good. I think I liked him. I haven't heard enough to actually say, but but I like the story of Roger Waters when he says John Prine, because he went to Vietnam and he had a terrible time of it, obviously, and then he got back and he started doing music, and he was just doing like little gigs, you know, in his local town, and he played a gig somewhere, and the owner of the venue said, "Oh, do you want a job? Do you want a job here?" And he said, "Oh, well, like doing what?" Like he was going to work behind the bar or something. But he said, "No, you can actually play you know, 7 days a week if you want. You're really good." But he was like, "Doing what?" But that's John Prine. So yeah, he's pretty good. You probably do know some songs by him. Just don't know the name. Do you know a song called "In Spite of Ourselves"? In spite of ourselves.
No, but
it's on a famous movie, but I can't remember the movie now.
Okay.
You probably know it.
Well, shoot it through to me afterwards if you find it. I'd be interested, because there's so many songs that you are sort of familiar with, but you maybe not know who sings them. Like me with Unchained Melody, and who did I say? Oh, the Righteous Brothers or the Everly Brothers?
Right, yeah, Righteous Brothers, I think it is.
Okay. Yeah, so I mixed that up. So
is that a solid body guitar behind you? Is that like, I can't see any pickups on it, or is it just the light?
That one, or
the one with it's got something on the fretboard, like there's something on the fretboard there.
Oh yeah, that's in between the Metallica and the Nirvana.
Yeah,
that's a Solar guitar. Let me grab it. I'll show you.
Yeah, I can. It looks interesting. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah, I can see it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like nice.
It's a carbon matte sort of black.
Ah, right.
It's like a Swedish brand. I think they're made in Indonesia. So,
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a beauty.
Yeah. Where'd you get that?
There's one distributor in Australia, which is in New South Wales, funnily enough. In Industry Music, they've only got a small range of this brand, you know, compared to what you can get sort of from, I think, Sweden. But I think, you know, if you order it direct from Sweden, there's a lot of taxes involved and stuff like that. So this particular website distributor in New South Wales have got a small range of this brand. It's a beauty. So love it. Yeah. Sort of got the, you know, my favourite sort of Les Paul sort of shape, but with a bit of a twist.
Yeah,
it's got sort of a cut there. If you can see it.
Oh yeah. Wow. That is just nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Wow.
that's the Solar logo, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah, really like the headstock as well.
Whoa, that is metal, isn't it?
It is, and I do like metal. I don't consider myself a metalhead or anything, but I love metal. I love rock and stuff like that. But what can I say? I just couldn't resist. So, yeah.
I think I did get into it once in the 90s. There was a band called Conformity, Corrosion of Conformity.
Yeah.
Are they a main band? Are they a band that you know?
Yeah. What was the guitarist? Pepper Keenan. Is that him?
Yeah.
He was in another band with Phil Anselmo from Pantera called Down.
Oh, is that right? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's sort of in everything and done a lot of different things. But yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like them. Yeah,
I remember liking them. I liked a band called the Stone Roses back in the 90s.
Yeah,
and the guitarist sort of kept on talking about this band, Corrosion of Conformity. So I went out and bought the CD, and it was pretty heavy. Is that metal or is that? It didn't. I don't know.
It's old school metal, at least. Yeah, because they're quite different bands, aren't they? Stone Roses and Corrosion of Conformity. Yeah, and that's okay. Like, I'm into all sorts of music, but what I write might be a little bit different, and the influences seep in somehow. Like you with Roy Orbison and Johnny Cash and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I used to know a guy who was into all the music you've been mentioning, all those drop T sort of American rock pop bands like Nine Inch Nails and Soundgarden.
Mm-hmm.
He was into all that, and sort of hard rock music, but he was an established acoustic player, very acoustic based writer, and even though he was his background was like metal rock, but he made it and did very well, and still is doing very well playing acoustic music.
Yeah. Well, I've always liked the best of both worlds. I'm just as happy to sit down with an acoustic guitar as I am with an electric guitar.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't know, but it's all music at the end of the day, and
that's right.
Sometimes you're angry and you need to play loud, and sometimes you're sad and you need to write an acoustic tune or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Yeah.
It's all over the place. My album. It's just it's mostly acoustic, but you'll come across like a track where all of a sudden there's all these guitars and loud drums. So, but it's like what you just said. It's a song. It's when you get angry and it comes out. I couldn't have done it acoustically. It was clearly a rocky guitar sort of song. So I think it's only one though. I think there's only one in there. I'm just having a quick look, but it's taken me ages because there's 36 tracks. Yeah. Oh no, there's about 2 or 3 like rock songs.
Yeah.
Hard rock. But it's not recorded with a drum mat. It's recorded with Logic Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use that software or do you use something else?
I use Reaper.
Oh yeah, I've used Reaper.
Yeah, at home here I do. Yeah, excuse me. But yeah, I know a few people that use Logic.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I was able to do the rock drums with Logic so easily, and it sounded great to me.
Yeah. Okay.
The rock, especially one of the songs is called "Uninvited." The lyrics are so there's only 2 words. It's like uninvited and divided, as in divided we've been for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And invited to. Well, I've gone through so many things where I've been asked to leave or stay outside, don't come in. You know what I mean? That terrible. Even my local bakery, you can't come in. And I've been buying bread there for 5 years or something.
Wow,
it's terrible. Yeah,
I guess some of that is the.
I wrote a song about it.
Yeah, of course. What's it called?
It's called Uninvited.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot of doors that were closed.
My wife Tanya, she promotes my music, and she goes around the radio stations. But some of these radio stations, they want you to be triple vaxxed and wear a mask just to get in and talk to the thing. So she couldn't get in. She was asked to wait outside for an hour. She had to wait, and then they escorted it in and said, "Oh, you can come into this little room. You're just me and you." And it was like there was a group of people you were supposed to meet with all these bands and artists and talk about your music and do all these great things. But no, she had to. So that's what that song's about.
Yeah.
Uninvited. Yeah.
I mean, how do you even deal with that in your brain? You know what I mean? Like,
it's shocking. It's just, you can't take it in. You really want, you do want an apology. You do want some kind of, I can't think of the word, but you want people to say, look, it was messed up and we're sorry and we've learned from it, and it's not going to happen again. You do want some kind of thing.
What was that that article? We're going to go down the rabbit hole again here. It was a couple of weeks ago. They wanted I've forgotten the word, it's escaped me.
Amnesty,
yes.
Yeah.
But there was no, like you just said, there was no apology, there was no sorry, this won't happen again, blah 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 blah. They just wanted amnesty,
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's not good. Yeah.
Yeah, but
we did all those bad things, but let's just move on. No.
Yeah,
forget about it. Move on. It'll happen again next year or next week. It's got to be done properly.
Yeah. But I don't know if I'm going to explain this properly, but someone was talking about it to get amnesty. Basically, you have to admit you've done something wrong or something like that. Like, is that right? Something like that? I'm not going to.
Just to acknowledge that.
Yeah,
it was crazy, and
you can't just have it without first admitting something, or
sure.
Anyway,
otherwise it'll just let's just do it again next week, and then what's the next thing? Whatever the next thing is, climate change or something. You can't leave your house, you can't use your car because you're destroying the environment. It's just you've got to be very careful.
You got to toe the line. I mean, you see that with all sorts of things, but I won't go into some of them. We don't want to take away too much from today. Your album release and
Friday night. We should be Friday night. Do you not go and see bands on a Friday night, or do you work?
Well, I just got home from work, so it's been quite a week. To be honest, like I worked all the way through the pandemic, as normal. And these last couple of years have taken more out of me mentally than sort of ever. I've been in this job about 20 years, and the last couple of years have probably been more taxing than ever. And
you got to keep it.
Yeah.
Even though,
Yeah, I got lucky. So, yeah, most days I just sort of can't wait to get home and lock myself in this room and just play guitar and sort of forget about what's going on. But you can't really. But yeah.
So you mainly songwriting or producing or a bit of both, or is it mainly sort of rehearsing for performance, or is it more sort of recording stuff for recording production?
Well, through the whole pandemic, I released 4 separate singles, some of which I did in here, some of which I did in the studio. So yeah, I sort of kept busy doing that. I've been doing a bit of writing, but I've been because I grew up on hard rock music and played in a lot of bands. About 10 years ago, the last band broke up, and that's when I went solo because I got sick of all the band politics and stuff. So I put the whole electric guitar thing mostly to the side, and just in the last, I would say, year and a bit, I've just really just fucking swallowed it back up again and just gone crazy and learning some of my old favourite songs, writing a lot of songs which will hopefully be in a new band soon. And I'm kind of like a kid in my bedroom as a teenager again, learning, and it's been really good. But I've still got the acoustic stuff going as well. So,
did you have an acoustic guitar before you? Yeah, when you were in the bands, yeah.
Yeah, so I always dabbled in that. Yeah. But my main reason to go solo officially was so I could do more gigs and everything I wanted to do and keep busy. And I think that's partly why the last couple of years were hard, because gigs got taken away.
Yeah. So I always imagine like hard rock sort of or metal guitar players spending like a lot of time, in their rooms learning their craft. That's what I imagine anyway. Don't know.
That's what I've been doing the last year. I guess I've got the more patience these days to do that, and some sort of drive that's come from somewhere, I don't know where and to what end, but it's been really good. So
cool.
Don't know why it's hit me at this point in life, but I'm not questioning it. So
that is a strange thing, because even though there's all these terrible things that have been going on the last 2 years, creatively it's been good.
Yeah.
So if you sometimes feel, oh God, I shouldn't. It just seems strange to be. I mean, I'm really excited to get my album out there, but I do, I feel like, and I'm going to like I feel like I should be thanking, and I will be thanking all these people that have inspired me to write. People I know, people I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's just great that I got all these stories over the last 2 years from all these people, like I said, people I know, people I don't know, like famous people. It's just, and not just musicians. All walks of life. Usually journalists or, I like the highwire.com. That, have you seen that one?
I think so.
Del Bigtree. He's got a website, the highwire.com, and he covers everything that's going on a weekly basis. He covers, and if you subscribe to his email, he sends you all the facts and all the proof, and all the, so you can back everything up they can back it up, and then if you want to use it, you have all the proof. He sends you an email every Monday, I think it is.
That's what I mean. It's all out there,
It is.
It really is. And that's the beauty of music. Like, what do you think, if you weren't a musician, what would you have done with all this stuff in your head and all these stories? Like, just what do you do with it? But you've put it into songs, and you know, you've filtered it through, and no doubt that's helped you and will help others when they listen to it. But what would you have done if you weren't a musician?
Yeah, I suppose I would have found something, but I don't really know. Maybe, I don't know, actually. Maybe I would have been, I do like drawing as well, you know.
Yeah.
I might have tried to, do you know I like, is it Bob Moran? Bob Moran? He's an artist, sort of. I like that sort of, I probably would have drawn, and because I haven't done enough drawing in my life, you know, like art, because I've been doing music. So
yeah,
but I've always planned to do it one day, probably, you know, later on down the track.
Well, Kurt Cobain was like that, wasn't he? You know, he was big on the art side of things, painting and just dolls. And did you know that?
No.
Yeah, there's a documentary. Actually, there's a. Hang on, let me grab something else.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So this book was put together, obviously, after he passed away, because he kept a lot of journals and stuff. Did a lot of painting, and what can I find here? You know, that's where the In Utero front cover, that was one of his art concoctions, or whatever you want to call it.
Can you hold it up for a second?
Yeah, I'm just looking for the right page.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. So that's one of his drawings, probably more as a kid.
I like it already. I like it.
Hang on.
I had no idea, actually.
Yeah. You know, like, it's sort of like, what was it? Incesticide, the album cover.
Yeah.
Kind of. You know, that was all Kurt.
Wow.
So, you know, he was not just a musician, he was an artist. These are some of the, you know, some kind of sick stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I can't see that so well. I can't see it.
Yeah, it's, you know, dolls and monkeys. I'm not really bringing out obvious stuff here. What was this? Yeah, he just had heaps of notebooks full of
all right, yeah,
things and lyrics. Yeah,
he's a great lyricist.
Smells like Teen Spirit lyrics.
But what? All right, okay. So that's yeah.
It's just a reprint of that.
Yeah. Is it different to the final result, or is it the same?
Oh, good question. I haven't read them.
Oh.
I think there's a recorded version where it was a little bit different. On one of the demos, I think.
Okay.
You know, what was that? With the Lights Out, that deluxe. There's been a few things released now, but yeah. So I think, you know, he was sort of fascinated with uteruses, you know, the reproductive system and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah.
Anyway, it's like a whole big book full of things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Wow. He's young there, eh? He's younger.
Yeah. And there's also there's a DVD documentary. I'll send it to you. It's escaped me now. My brain's fried for today, but yeah, I'll send it to you. It's really cool. Sort of goes looking into a lot of that stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, we better I gotta let you go to bed because you got a big day ahead, and I
am. I'm going actually straight. I got to have a shower, and then go straight. I'm going to sleep nicely because, you know, I got to catch up on what I've missed.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations again on the new album release. Is it available today on all digital platforms?
Yep, sure is. And it's available tonight for if you want to buy the CD. It's available. I think it's midnight tonight. If you want, but you have to go to the website, of course, and or go to a gig. And obviously, I'm going to be selling them.
Yeah. So you'll have CDs at the gigs.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Well, I'll look forward to seeing you on the 9th of December in Brunswick there at the, how do you say it? The Bergie Seltzer. Is that it?
Oh, yeah. That's it. I think that's the one.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, likewise. I look forward to seeing you. Do you know the other artist?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I just assume, everyone knows each other in Melbourne.
No, there's just constantly new musicians or, ones that you haven't heard of. So it's a pretty big scene, and you sort of forget sometimes just how big it is. So,
Melbourne was always that, that's where the music is, in Melbourne, not Sydney.
Yeah.
So you've always had that, thing, go to Melbourne, that's where it's happening. So that's why it's always exciting, to go down to Melbourne.
Just means there's a lot of competition too. We might have a gig that night, but then 2 or 3 doors down there's another gig, and then another 5 doors down there's another one. So you're competing with a lot, Yeah. So
that's good. Healthy competition. That's it.
Yeah. Well, there's I think there's still a good kebab place around there. I don't know if that's your thing, but maybe we can go for one after the show.
It is, yeah. Yeah. And the food, I was going to say that the food is supposed to be better in Melbourne too. So,
okay,
that's what they say up here.
We'll see. Well, nice to chat with you, Jonathan, and congratulations again on the release of the new album. Go and check it out, folks. Yeah. And jonathanbone.com, links in the show notes. Check it out, and look forward to seeing you on the 9th. Best of luck with the shows in between.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
And
see you in Melbourne.
Yeah, see you in Melbourne. It's going to be great.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Nice to you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and we'll catch you again for another episode of Fox on the Wire very soon. Cheers.